You know, I'm a GP. I qualified in '85. I'm just going to speak for 2 minutes about the state of health of the nation. I qualified in '85, and in the past 35 years, I don't think the general public has got healthier. One thing for certain is they have got fatter. In '85, 7% of the population was obese, and now it's 27%. Through your talk, you mentioned COVID. But since 2000, we've also had SARS, MERS, H1N1, and every year we have flu, for which there is no treatment. People are hanging on for a COVID vaccine, whether it's this year or next year. It will probably have to be a different vaccine every year. And as with flu, it will be a best guess. So really the imperative for everyone is to look at their own health and realise that they have to take full responsibility for it. And I think the time where people have neglected their health and are able just to eat fast food or ready-made meals is probably coming to an end. The generation that's around at the moment, the people in their 20s and 30s, will probably be the first generation for over 200 years where the average person is going to die at a younger age than their parents. And that is terrifying. So Synergy is an amazing company. What I would like to do is, currently I look after 8,000 people. I'd like to work in a business that looks after 20,000, 100,000, 1 million people in the UK. And the way we're going to get change in health in our country is from the bottom up, not from the top down. The NHS itself isn't delivering in the way that it should do, and that's partly because they're missing out on the social aspect of care. Now, if we can get the elderly population as well as they can be through a range of products, and I'm going to go through briefly the products that Synergy have, technically it means that those people will be much more independent and less in need of care. And that process starts with us now. We have to become health advocates, and our little groups that you presented should mushroom across the country and provide a different type of base level, and I will call it healthcare, because Synergy is a healthcare business and we are in the wellness business. Next slide, please, Paul. So one of the huge areas of research at the moment is the microbiome. 3 years ago, I knew nothing about it. And I would almost bet my bottom dollar is that if you were to ask 100 GPs or health professionals in the country what the microbiome was, very few of them would know. It just so happens that it's one of the biggest areas of research currently. And we know that the microbiome impacts not only your digestion, but it impacts your brain, the way your brain functions. It impacts your immune system, critically important at this time of COVID, but also critically important at the time of flu. We know it's really important in the inflammatory process. We know it's an important factor in cancer. We know that it leads to autoimmune conditions. We know it impacts on inflammatory bowel disease. What we're learning now is that it has a huge impact on hormonal status, both male and female. It impacts the menopause. This is something which we have neglected. 100 years ago, they realized the importance of things like probiotics, prebiotics, eating fermented foods. But then with the advent of Western pharmaceutical, we almost expected a pill for every ill. The thing is that synthetic chemicals do not help us in the way that our gut microbiome can. And the fact that Synergy have realized there is a niche in the market for a product which can reset your gut microbiome is incredible. The fact it's made by a company who rigorously tests their products, where they quality assure the ingredients, is even more incredible. Next slide, please, Paul. So here's the Purify range that's been introduced, produced by scientists, nutritionists, microbiologists to hone in very carefully on a menu and a list of ingredients, each one of which is selected to help your microbiome, is absolutely fantastic. A 21-day program that people can go on, that at the end of it, I've yet to see a single person who doesn't find an improvement in their general health and well-being. But it's a start. It's a start to improve your general health. Next. The fact that the same company has also produced a product called ProRG, which is based on Nobel Prize winning science from 1998, a product which is natural in terms of its ingredients, again, which is highly specifically developed, which helps to improve your cardiovascular health through the action of nitric oxide, is incredible. And I think everyone should be taking something like this once they get to the age of about 40. I'd much rather be on something like ProRG than dependent on synthetic pharmaceuticals to help my cardiovascular health. Now, that's not to say that Synergy replaces beta blockers, for example, if you're taking them, or other drugs which help your cardiovascular health. But maybe if you're on this from a young enough age, you may not need those products. The science hasn't yet been done, but I'm sure it will be. Next. One of the things I was taught at medical school in 1985, and also when I did my master's degree in sports medicine in 95, was that if you ate a healthy, balanced diet, you would never need a health supplement. What we know now with the paucity in research into soil, into the way that we grow our foodstuffs, in the amount of pesticides, insecticides that are used in our food production, the fact that we can get strawberries and asparagus on Boxing Day means that we aren't following nature. We're expecting, and this has really changed in the past 30 years, to be able to get anything we want at any time. And that comes at a cost. Part of the cost of that is that most of the food you buy in supermarkets will have been stored for up to a year in very artificial circumstances, such that the food, the fruit, the vegetables may look perfect, but they're virtually devoid of nutrients. So that's why Synergy, through their V3 maintenance program, with a product which is based on greens, with a product that is based on red berries, and with ProRG, which helps cardiovascular health, is an ideal maintenance food for everyone to take every day. And I've been taking it for about 3 years now. Simple combination, you have it as a drink in the morning, and I'm absolutely certain it's improved all aspects of my health and well-being. Next. And finally, E9. E9 is natural caffeine. Synthetic caffeine, which is in sodas, it's in sports gels, it's in caffeinated chewing gum, it's in an awful lot of products that you would never ever think about. It's made from urea. Its other base ingredient is chloroacetic acid. It then goes through a process which results in a blue glowing powder called methylated theophylline. People don't like stuff that glows bright blue, so they rinse it in some other things like acetic acid and chloroform. It's made in unregulated factories, mainly in Southeast Asia. The US imports about 7 million kilos a year, which go into soft drinks that we give our children. It goes into energy gels that we take if we're marathon runners or cyclists or just want a bit of an energy boost. How on earth have we as a society let that situation develop and be almost entrenched? And there are natural products like guarana and yerba mate, which are in E9. The other thing about E9 and ProRG is that they're on something called the cologne list. So any professional athlete, any Olympic athlete can safely take these products and know that they will pass any drug test. Next, please, Paul. And the final product is Flex, a product which Synergy have been developing for a number of years to aid joint health. It contains glucosamine and chondroitin, which a lot of people have heard of. It also contains something called MSM, which people probably haven't heard of. But in this combination, it's a fantastic product to maintain your joint health. From the age of about 45, 1 in 5 people will start to develop osteoarthritis with all the problems that has. In the UK alone, about 250,000 people have joint replacement surgery per year. At huge cost to the NHS. The average joint replacement costs about £5,000. If we could all start taking a product that aided our joint health, that helped pain and stiffness, helped to maintain joints, to help them not degenerate, how fantastic would that be? Here is one company that is producing all of these. You don't need to be a doctor or in any way a health professional to recommend them to friends, family, work colleagues, all of which are produced with rigor, none of which you have to carry stock for because they can all be shipped through simple technology, through your own dedicated website. It's just an incredible opportunity. Next. The other thing that Synergy have produced is something called a lifestyle analysis, which covers digestive and intestinal health, your circulatory system, your nervous system, your immune system, respiratory, urinary, endocrine, and joints. It's a really simple system to use through questions which are clearly defined. It has undergone some scientific rigor in terms of its development. And it's a thing which you can introduce anybody to, both before they go on to Synergy products and afterwards. And people have the results in front of them within 5 minutes. You're not having to send off any blood tests or anything, but people will definitely find that if they are going to their GPs for bloods, that taking the Synergy products will probably improve them. And the other incredible thing about Synergy as a company is that you get a 90-day money-back guarantee. I don't know any other supplement company where you can buy their products, and if you find they haven't worked or they haven't given the results that you want, they will give you the money back. The other thing about Synergy is that any person can go and visit the head office and the manufacturing process in Utah. Which healthcare company do you know who can say that? I'll hand back to you, Paul.